This is Omnivore presents SciDish, a podcast from the Institute of Food Technologists. In each episode, we take a deeper dive into a single topic shaping the future of food. Hosted by the editors of Food Technology, together with IFT members and subject matter experts, SciDish brings you the science, insights, and real-world perspectives that drive innovation, solve complex challenges, and connect disciplines across the global food system. Thanks for joining us. Let's get into the conversation.
This episode of Omnivore is brought to you by IFT FIRST, where the future of food takes shape. Join thousands of changemakers and innovators at Chicago's McCormick Place, July 13th through 16th, for the food industry's can't-miss event of the year. Connect with global leaders, experience breakthrough technologies, and be part of the conversations defining tomorrow's food landscape. Secure your spot at iftevent.org.
Welcome to IFT's podcast, Omnivore Presents SciDish, our monthly deep dive into the topics that connect global food system communities to promote and advance the science of food and its application. This episode is supported by IFT's Dairy Division. I'm Julie Larson-Brisher, Food Technology Magazine's Science and Technology Editor, one of your hosts for today's SciDish podcast, where we're covering practical advice for starting a career in food science, from choosing roles to building industry-relevant skills. Co-hosting with me today is Chinnadurai Karunanithy, a seasoned professional in the field of food engineering and product development, currently serving as the Senior Manager of R&D Engineering at HB Hood LLC, one of the largest branded dairy operators in the U.S., with prior roles including Product and Process Engineer at Russell Stover Chocolates and Assistant Professor of Food Engineering at University of Wisconsin-Stout. CK has extensive experience in process engineering, product development, and academic teaching. He also is an active member of IFT's Dairy Division. I'm also happy to introduce our subject matter experts for this episode of SciDish. Our first guest is Moira McGrath, President and founder of Opus International, a well-recognized executive search firm where she and her staff specialize in placing scientists in research and development and quality assurance positions with food and food ingredient manufacturers. Moira is very involved with IFT and has served on the board of directors and chaired numerous committees. She also has served on several university advisory councils for their food science departments, including Cornell University, UC Davis, Virginia Tech, and University of Florida. We're also happy to welcome Srinivasarao Bandla, who serves as the Quality Assurance Manager at Land O'Lakes, where he plays a pivotal role in ensuring the highest standards of quality and food safety for dairy powders and fluids. Srini's leadership capabilities shine through as he manages cross-functional teams, fostering a culture of quality and accountability within the organization. His commitment to people management ensures that team members are well-trained and motivated to uphold the highest quality assurance standards. He is also a valued member of IFT's Dairy Division. It's wonderful to have you here, CK, Moira, and Srini. Now let's dive right in. I'm going to kick us off by asking Moira, what's the job market looking like for new food science graduates or those who are in the early stages of their careers or looking for that second job?
Well, in my opinion, there's always a strong job market for food scientists. There are just not enough students graduating with food science degrees each year, and baby boomers continue to retire, all of which gives us a shortage. And frankly, food safety will always be a strong job market because it has to be. Food has to be safe, period. That will never change, and the industry will always need good food scientists for food safety. And now with the industry being under scrutiny by RFK, there should be quite a bit of new product development going on in the very near future. So I'm very positive about the industry currently.
Thank you, Moira. Given the current job market, how important is the cultural fit within a company, and how can candidates show they align with the company's values to improve their opportunities for landing their first or second job?
Culture fit is everything, both for the company and for the candidate. It's not a question of how the candidate can show that they align with company values. It's a question of whether or not they are aligned. The candidate needs to interview the company just as much as the company needs to interview the candidate. Before making any decisions on accepting a role, they need to do their homework. Do the company values align with theirs? Are the people that they're interviewing with people that they want to work with? Who can you learn from? You'll be spending a lot of time with these people and they will become your family. Are you comfortable with that? A bad culture fit is probably the main reason given to us as to why someone wants to find a new job. It isn't money or location or job responsibilities. It's that they're just not happy there. So we see so many resumes where candidates only stay at jobs for a year or two. And when we see this, we believe that either the candidate isn't good at their job or that they didn't do their homework before they accepted that offer. So they'd be learning the hard way by accepting a position without really evaluating whether or not this is a good fit for them. The fit is everything.
Thank you, Moira. Srini, as a technical manager working in industry, you had quite a bit of experience hiring entry-level professionals. Can you share any tips on how candidates can stand out in a competitive recruitment process beyond just their technical qualification?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here to involve in IFT Dairy Foods division. It's a great question. And besides the technical skills, we always look out for business skills as well. So, like, time management is one of the key thing that, proves a candidate that, like, they can effectively accomplish their tasks, and also proves to the interview team that, like, it is he or she is a productive resource. By, the candidates should always provide examples of, like, how they effectively utilize their time to accomplish the tasks productively. And also problem solving is another skill set besides the technical skills. Like, the technical skills is something, every candidate should have, at least to know the basics. Besides the basics, business skills always stands out apart in the competitive market. And what are the business skills? That is like problem solving, effective time management, and soft skills like communication, teamwork, and adaptability, and passion for learning and listening, and as well as Moira pointed out, cultural fit and emotional intelligence, and show initiative and ownership. So problem solving, I'll go for problem solving. Like, if a candidate could explain, like, with a key example of, how he or she approach problems. It's not just getting about the right answer, but it's about how you think and how you break down on complex issues, and how you find solutions. A key example could be any project you have done during your school project, or during your coursework project, or an internship. That could highlight your approaches to problem solving, that given, like, success, or that given results, to, which in the form of solutions, would definitely will add a big advantage to set the candidate apart from the competitive environment. Because the companies doesn't want to hire people just to do, like, day-to-day job. They want to hire people for, like, who can provide solutions to the problems they are having, and also define what success looks like, for the team. So who can show these kind of skills will definitely set apart during the interview process for sure.
Those are great tips, Srini. And I want to follow up on that a little bit, especially when we're talking about students. I mean, how are you going to evaluate a candidate's leadership potential? You're talking about the problem-solving skills, and I kind of get that in science. People are doing experiments and they're publishing research, early on, which is a great way to showcase your problem-solving skills. But in the business acumen sense, how do you know how a candidate has leadership potential, especially in an entry-level role?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Leadership is not often more about mindset. It's also about behavior than having a formal authority. So when evaluating leadership potential, especially for an entry level candidate, what's the type of mindset this particular individual has, like how he or she is displaying in a team environment, whether it with a positive tone, whether bringing out like different perspectives, like always we always have to prepare our mind that, like, there will be agreements as well as disagreements. So we have to accept those agreements and disagreement perspectives, uh, and then also how we can effectively collaborate. How can we be a partner, and how can we influence with those partnerships? So those are the kind of skills we always look out for, like partnerships and ownership and communication and emotional intelligence, because in a industry setting we always will have conflicts as well, because quality wants something and R&D wants something else, and then a production wants to run the lines. So this is always like in a reality scenario, like analyzing different perspectives and ensuring that, like, we all work for the best outcome of the organization. With that mindset, having that mindset drives everything else. So those are the qualities leaders initially display to have desired outcomes for any projects. It could go wrong, but at the end of the day, if we stay together and follow the solutions, and at the end of the day, that will prove it as you are a strong candidate and have a lot of potential for leadership. So also learn your lessons, like, from your mistakes and also from your team members and peers. Always actively listening to your team members and experienced professionals. Like Moira said, like there are a lot of baby boomers, who has like almost like 40-30 plus years of experience. Actively listening to them and learning from them, so that, like, you can be a very strong potential leader for this team.
I'm going to break the fourth wall, if it will, and put this next question to my co-host, CK. CK, you have a lot of academic industry background. I'm not going to say boomer like Srini just did, but you've also got a lot of insight into prepping young professionals for their first roles as food scientists. And I'm wondering if you would have anything to add to Srini's comments.
Thank you, Julie. Basically, whenever there is opportunity for industry visit, when they are doing their coursework, they have to take advantage of that one. At least a couple of internships within the industry definitely would help them. It's academic knowledge, lab versus what's actual working setting or production settings or quality labs. That's going to give them first insight. The other things already Srini mentioned, the time management. Most of the meetings are only 30 minutes. The time is money. So within that concise and crisp communication is to be communicated to cross-functional team members. It may be operations, or it may be quality assurance, or procurement, or engineering. The team management, collaboration and team management is going to be another soft skills when they get into the workforce. Willingness to be open and learn, because most of the decisions are made based on data. Again, dollar values attached to everything, whether it's a time or line time or packaging, everything. So it's one another thing is when preparing for interview, things like that, know about the company, do your research, know the market, and then who is the competitor. That would help a long way.
Well, I'm sure that Moira is going to have some practical advice too about what to do to get that first role. So, Moira, what's some common mistakes that candidates make in their resumes or during the interviews? And do you have any advice on how to avoid them?
Yes. Regarding resumes, it has to be professional. No typos or spelling errors. And it needs to spell out what you want the reader to know about you. So, for example, for students, an objective on the top of the page is critical, as it gives the student the opportunity to tell the reader what they want to do. And they can say something as simple as seeking a position in product development of frozen dairy products. It's short and sweet, and it gets your point across. This is particularly important if your internships were in other areas like quality or food safety. If there was not an objective, the reader would likely think that the candidate wants to stay in food safety when in fact their goal is product development. The second sentence in the objective, as CK mentioned, is soft skills, project management, communication, leadership skills. All of those things are very important. And if you feel that that is going to help you in your ability to get the job, certainly mention it in your resume. And when interviewing, be on time, dress appropriately, look the hiring manager in the eye, and have a good handshake. I know this all sounds old-fashioned, but it's the way to go. It works.
We'll be back with more SciDish in a moment. But first, a quick message from our sponsor.
Come together with your global food science community at IFT FIRST this July 13th through 16th in Chicago, where you'll connect with industry pioneers tackling today's biggest challenges, from AI revolutionizing food production to GLP-1 medications transforming nutrition science. Thousands of innovators will gather at McCormick Place to shape our food future through cutting-edge technologies and critical conversations that matter. Don't miss this premier event. Register now at iftevent.org.
And now, back to SciDish.
Okay, Moira, well, that's good, but I'd like to follow up on that. Here's one of the, perhaps one of the top questions that job seekers ask. How important is having hands-on experience, such as an internship or some sort of research project, outside of your secondary education institution for that hiring process?
Well, as CK mentioned, it is very important for students to have at least one internship, hopefully two. And by that, I don't mean working in a lab with your professor. I mean working for a food or food ingredient manufacturer, big or small, in some scientific capacity. Frankly, that's the best way to find a full-time role. If you've done a good job at one of these internships, chances are they'll make you an offer when you graduate. Companies want to hire people who they know and who they like. So when you're in an internship, you've got a golden opportunity to check them out as well and possibly have an offer at the end of your graduation. So I strongly advise internships before graduation. In regards to research projects, that's also very important. But to me and to my clients, internships are really the way to go.
Thank you, Moira. Along those lines, I'd like to ask Srini a final question. How best can a candidate project as a team leader or team player during a typical technical interview or assessment process? In other words, how do you answer when you do not know the answer?
If the candidate is not sure of the question, ask for a clarification. Would be a ideal way to go for. And then, how would you show a team leader or team players skills during a technical interview process? Always explain, like, with the mindset that, like, when a project when you worked on a project, also add the team player and team leaders abilities into your discussion when you are answering that any questions related to a project. For example, if I were in a team setting, I would reach out to a colleague who has experience in a ice cream area, let's say, for to get their input on a new flavor I am working on. So I could work out with a colleague who is a subject matter expert in flavors, and work together to come up with a niche flavor for the ice cream, and as part of new product development, and solve the problem, or create a new product. So being a team player like that, influences the interviewer, and also shows your skills of your team player and team leadership skills. Also think loud and collaborate, and show examples such as, like, how you collaborated with your peers, with your cross-functional partners, when you are explaining about any project. And also being logical and methodical also opens also uh, gives a good impression of your collaboration and your team leadership skills. And one of the best thing is always be transparent and humble, and don't hesitate if you have any additional questions, and also talking about, like, successes, and at the same time also talk about your any failure points, like during your project, there are successes and failures. So what you have what you have learned from failure points displays leadership potential as well. And successes, always highlight the key successes you have in your project, and who played instrumental role in bringing the results out of that project, like the team members and cross-functional partners. So that highlights your leadership ability, that, like, you are rewarding the people who contributed to the project, and that kind of gives a good um, good display of your leadership abilities for that project or for your role.
I'm glad you brought that up, Srini, because just recently we had a really great example of a student at Texas A&M, Shikadri. She had written to all the editors about it was an article that Texas A&M Monthly had written about some students, and she was included because she had had an internship at FAO. And she was very proud of it. And she said, is there any way you guys would like to write some sort of story about this? And but she had contacted all the editors at once, which is kind of a no-no. You need to start with one editor. So I asked her, I set up a meeting with her so that I could help her understand this is how you approach when you want to get a yes from an editor. And we had a great conversation. And during that, I found that she had had another internship at a wheat council, like a, marketing board, state marketing board. It happened to be in my state of Oregon, so that was great. But she was telling me how she was applying cold plasma to the problem of eliminating, or at least reducing substantially, the use of chlorine at the beginning of the process to try to get the chlorination out of the beginning of any processing of the wheat kernels. And I said, and a light bulb went off, and I said, look, the whole time we've been talking, here I am trying to mentor you on how to get that, but you have brought to me one success, which is your FAO internship, which was fantastic. And also a success having to do with some actual research in an internship. And those two are so powerful that I'm going to take that to our executive editor and see if there might be a research profile between your mentor, yourself, and the people at Oregon Wheat Council to see if there might be a little research profile we might do in the magazine. And in fact, it's turned out that way. And so I said to Shikadri, never always let people know what you're doing. It's a great idea, especially if it's successful and you're starting out. And she'll be graduating pretty soon, and she'll now have something else to put on her resume.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Like, how you collaborate with and how you reaching out to others and showcasing your skills and your area of expertise.
Yeah, it works. I'll probably get a lot of calls from students now.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you all so much for sharing your insights with our SciDish listeners today, CK, Moira, and Srini. And listeners, remember to visit IFT.org's career development page, where members and students can download the 2024 IFT Compensation and Career Path Report. It's the credible, trustworthy information you need to power your career all in one place. Whether you're negotiating a higher salary, seeking a new position, or exploring a new career path, IFT's Compensation and Career Path Report provides the trusted, comprehensive, up-to-date information you need to move forward with confidence. Thanks again, everyone.
Our thanks to IFT First, food improved by research, science, and technology, for feeding this episode to your ears. Don't miss your chance to be part of the year's biggest food science and innovation gathering in Chicago this July. Connect with the minds cooking up tomorrow's innovations, get a taste of breakthrough technologies, and join conversations that matter for our food future. Register today at iftevent.org.
And that concludes this episode of Omnivore Presents SciDish. Thanks again to our guests for another amazing discussion. SciDish is produced by the Institute of Food Technologists and the editors of Food Technology magazine. To learn more about IFT and how we convene global food system professionals to advance the science of food, visit IFT.org. If you're not already a member, head to IFT.org/membership to find your place in the IFT community. For more insights, ideas, and innovation, check out our sister podcast, Omnivore, on the News and Publications page of IFT.org. Join us again next month for another timely discussion. This is Omnivore Presents SciDish.